Applying Fuller's Earth. Here, I'm going to use several layers. I'm starting with a pump-based watercolor, so that it's already mixed up, very, very quick to apply. Just make sure you get an even covering on your model's arm. And let it dry before you start to work with your Fuller's Earth. When you use the clay on its own, it's a lot more difficult than using the mixture with the flour. It's not as strong, it's not as robust. And in reality, it's better for stills work. For stills work, it's absolutely beautiful, especially close-up beauty. So here I have the mixture that I prepared earlier, and I'm going to apply it to the dry paint on my model's arm. And you'll start to notice all the different ways that you can apply the paint. Here I'm using a fork, smoothing it on with the fork. So I've got a water-based paint underneath, and then Fuller's Earth. So as the Fuller's Earth dries and cracks, you'll still have colour underneath. It won't be cracking off and revealing dry skin. And then you can score, as before. Here I'm using a fork. You could use a comb to make a pattern. Again, being aware that you're working on a human being, try to show compassion and love. Here I'm using a stipple sponge. This creates a very interesting texture. And actually dries surprisingly quickly. These tiny little dots do dry much faster than a thicker layer of Fuller's Earth. Do be aware of your drying times. If you have to still do a beauty makeup or the hair or whatever, do this first, go and do the other stuff, and then come back and work on the dried Fuller's Earth later. And then here, I'm using my fingers, creating tiny little spikes of Fuller's Earth by lifting. And this is also, as you can see in places, it's actually lifting off the Fuller's Earth to reveal the colour underneath. I have beaten gold leaf, which is very sensitive to any kind of draft or wind, but it is great fun to play around with these mudworks. I'm going to use it on the texture that I created with a fork and use my breath to blow it in to the detail so that I don't lose any detail. Can you see how I'm using my breath to press it into the fork strokes? Look how beautifully fine and pliable it is. This is really nice stuff if you're doing close-up work. So I've now got 3 layers. I have the watercolor paint, I have the Fuller's Earth, and I have the gold leaf. And then you'll see once it's dry, we can start playing with a 4th layer.